Shalom. Brother Goodbye back, another GMS lesson. GMS keep pushing. Before I go any further, give all praise, honor, and glory to Heavenly Father's only begotten Son, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakbadash. Double honors for our apostles and elders, a great millstone for teaching us His truth according to the Bible and good well. And thou shalt want our sincere Akil about the four corners of the earth, pushing His truth through diligence and sincerity and in charity and Shalom. All sincere followers, believers of Yahweh Shai, not just hearers of the word, but doers as well. You men, women, and children, hopefully elect Shalom. Excuse me. We're going to go into Proverbs 2 and break it down. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. This is Proverbs 2:1. It says, "My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee," because ultimately this is what we're supposed to be doing. Going back to Ecclesiastes 12, Deuteronomy 10, chapter 10, I think around the 12th verse, okay, is keeping the commandments to the best of our abilities, which is going to equal to a long life. All right, because when you transgress the ways of the Heavenly Father, you're sinning. And according to Romans 6, the wages of sin is death. All right. It says, verse 2, so that thou incline thy ear unto wisdom. And if you read the first chapter in Proverbs, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. All right. So Proverbs 2:2, it says, so that thou incline thy ear unto wisdom, which is the fear of the Lord, and apply thy heart to understanding the mind. Going back to Proverbs 4:7. All right, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom. With all thy getting, get understanding. Get the understanding on why you should be fearing Yahweh Shai. And ultimately, it's because of, Psalm 68:20. The issues of life and death belong unto our God. He can remove you from the earth. He can heal you. He can do whatever. Heal you, harm you, hurt you, send you back to the spirit world. That's why we get the understanding on these scriptures. And that's the importance of having teachers. And the Wadi Yahweh Shai for our apostles, elders, and bishops, a great millstone, for showing us the way and breaking things down. All right. It says, verse 3, yea, if thou criest after knowledge, and lift up thy voice for understanding. All right, and the Lord said, He wouldn't upbraid it. He would give it to you, liberally in a sense. There's wisdom. Well, that's in somewhere in Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiasticus is a rock. But reading on verse 4, if thou seekest her as silver, and searchest for her as for hidden treasures, then thou shalt understand that the fear of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, and to find the knowledge of Yahweh. That's right. This is more precious than rubies. And anything that thou canst desire cannot compare unto her. Right? Which that's in Wisdom of Solomon. No, this wisdom is more precious than fine gold. That riches, matter of fact, let me get it. If riches be a possession to be desired in this life, we might have to do a part 2. No, it's 8. It's Wisdom of Solomon 8:5. If riches be a possession to be desired in this life, what is richer than wisdom, the work of all things? That's right. So this is more precious than anything we can have, man. So going back, Proverbs 2 and 6 says, for the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. So the Lord giveth us the wisdom to increase. It says, verse 7, he layeth up sound wisdom for righteousness. He is a buckler to them that walk upright. And what makes you upright? Walking in the ways of Yahweh Shai. Right? Give me 1 second. It says he layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk upright. What makes you walk upright? Having these precepts in your mind, man. Turning back to your Yahweh Shai with a sincere heart and keeping his ways to the best of your ability. Prime example, the Lord tells you don't eat pork, don't eat shrimp. You refrain from those things. You don't idol worship. You don't worship other gods. Okay? Those things make you upright in the eyes of the Lord. All right? Verse 8. It says, he keepeth the paths of judgment and preserve the ways of his saints. Right? Because the Lord's going to always be with his saints. Who are the saints? The Israelites. Psalms 148 goes into how the saints are the Israelites. And we're being called by these different proverbs and bywords today. All right? Native American, Hispanic, Negro, Black, Latino. Okay? But we are the saints. Psalms 148 backs that up. It says, where we at? Verse 9. Then shall thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity, yea, every good path. Because we come back to discerning, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, what's righteous and what's wickedness, who's telling the truth and who's going off, all right, going back to Malachi 3. And the Wadi Yahweh, Bashim Yahushai, once again, Jeremiah 3 and 15, the Lord said he will give you passes according to his heart, which shall feed you with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. All right. Just a side note, I'm about to have an avocado for breakfast, Lord willing. And for brothers that are dealing with belly fat, avocados is good to shed that belly. All right. Women too. For women too, it's a good fat for you, and it helps trim the belly area. Anyways, Proverbs 2 and 10 says, when wisdom entereth into thy heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, and understanding shall keep thee. And this is what we're going to need in these latter days, man. All right? The spirit of discretion, right? And the understanding of why we're doing the things we're doing, why we are resisting our temptation, right? While we're carrying our cross, because we know the bigger picture, the photo grande, right? We know what the light at the end of the tunnel is going to pay off for us. All right, where we at? Verse 12, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man. Who's the evil man? Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed so-called white man. They have a biblical nationality, right? And they are Hebrew Edomites. All right? Today they call themselves white, German, all right, Italian, Russian, Dutch, French. The list goes on. Spaniard. Okay. It says, to deliver thee, verse 12, from the way of the evil man, and from the man that speaketh forward things, who leave the paths of uprightness to walk in the ways of darkness. All right. And discretion, understanding, wisdom, the fear of the Lord is going to protect you from this man. All right. Who's been given license to what? Delete you ninjas. Because he's the sword on the left hand for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, contrary to popular belief. Proverbs 2 and 14 says, who rejoice to do evil. And remember the scriptures say, this man lay upon his bed and is not satisfied till he brings a type of mischief or evil upon the earth. Roughly paraphrasing. So Micah 2, woe to him that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they bring it to life. Yeah, that's these devils. Okay. It says, verse 16, verse 15, whose ways are crooked, and they forward in their paths to deliver thee from the strange woman, even the strange which flatter with words. these different philosophies and doctrines. All right, this sounds smooth to our people. That's what Esau Edom's coming with, and always been coming with, and now people fall for it every time. And this new way is going to be his technology, his science, performing miracles. So it's going to, it's going to get a lot of our people, man. It says, verse 17, which forsake the God of her youth and forgotten the covenant of her power, for in her house incline unto death, and her paths unto death. Right? So her path leads to death. It says, verse 20, that thou mayest walk in the way of good men. And the Lord has set up good men for us to follow. All right? Follow righteous men. It says, and keep the paths of the righteous, for the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. And we're striving to be perfect. All right? Even though we're not, but we're striving for it. By what? Doing the will of the Heavenly Father in righteousness. Well, what's the will? What's the will, brother? I mean, once again, keep the ways of the Heavenly Father, the law, statutes, commandments to the best of your ability. And it takes the gift of faith, going back to Ephesians, the 2nd chapter, which is a gift. So the Lord's blessed you to understand what he's saying through his men. Just pray that you continue to keep the faith. And the Lord's going to put you in situations for your faith to grow. Remember that as well. Verse 22, last verse, but the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressor shall be uprooted out of it. All right? Makes you think about Job. The triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. And we're living in those times where these things are going to come to pass. So I just want to touch on this Proverbs 2. Lord wants us to edify. Until next time I say shalom.